Until that Christmas Eve, I thought I knew what loneliness felt like. I thought I understood rejection. But standing in Terminal C of LaGuardia Airport at 11:45 on December 24th, with $17 in my pocket and nowhere to go, I learned that pain has depths I'd never imagined. The kind that makes your chest feel hollow, like someone reached in and scooped out everything that mattered, leaving just the shell of who you used to be. I'm Margaret Hayes, 62 years old. For 28 years, I was the pastry chef at Rousseau's, one of Manhattan's finest French restaurants. I made wedding cakes for celebrities, designed desserts that made food critics cry, taught culinary students who went on to open their own bakeries. My chocolate soufflé was featured in Bon Appetit. My lemon tart recipe got shared 30,000 times online. I was someone. I mattered. Then my husband died. Cancer. 18 months ago. The medical bills ate through our savings like acid through paper. The life insurance barely covered his funeral. I had to sell our apartment in Queens, the one we'd bought 30 years ago when the neighborhood was affordable and full of artists and dreamers. I moved into a studio in the Bronx, took a job delivering groceries for Freshcart to supplement my pension. My knees ached from climbing stairs. My hands, once steady enough to pipe royal icing flowers, now trembled from arthritis and exhaustion. But I still had Jessica, my daughter, my only child. She was doing well, married to Brandon, a hedge fund manager. They had a beautiful brownstone in Brooklyn Heights, 2 kids I barely saw. Jessica worked in luxury real estate, sold penthouses to people who had more money than I'd earn in 10 lifetimes. She was busy. I understood. I didn't want to be a burden. When she called 3 days before Christmas and invited me to their annual holiday party, I cried with joy. I baked her favorite cookies, the snickerdoodles I'd made every Christmas since she was 3. I bought presents for my grandchildren with money I should have saved for rent. I took 2 buses and the subway to Brooklyn Heights, my arms full of packages, hope swelling in my chest like rising dough. The brownstone was decorated like something from a magazine. White lights twisted around the iron railings. A wreath with real pine branches hung on the door. Through the windows, I could see people in cocktail dresses and suits, holding champagne flutes, laughing. Beautiful people, successful people, my people, once, before everything fell apart. I rang the doorbell. Jessica answered. She looked stunning in a black designer dress I recognized from a shop window in Soho. $3,000, the price tag had said. More than my monthly rent. Mom? Her smile faltered. You're early. The buses were running ahead of schedule. Merry Christmas, sweetheart. I held out the cookie tin. She didn't take it. Her eyes moved past me to the street, checking if anyone saw. Mom, about tonight. I'm so sorry, but there's been a misunderstanding. Something cold crawled up my spine. What do you mean? The party. It's actually a client event. Brandon's boss is here, and we're trying to make a certain impression. I thought I'd mentioned it was professional only, no family. I stared at her. You invited me 3 days ago. You said you wanted me here for Christmas. I know, and I feel terrible, but things changed. You understand, right? She glanced over her shoulder. Someone inside laughed, a bright, careless sound. It's just that some of Brandon's colleagues are here, and they're very traditional about mixing business and personal life. It would be awkward. Awkward. The word tasted like poison. I'm your mother, Jessica. I know that, Mom. Don't make this harder than it is. Her voice dropped to a whisper, sharp with embarrassment. Look at you. You're wearing that old coat. You smell like, I don't know, garlic? Onions? You can't come in like this. These people are important. The packages slipped from my arms. One hit the steps, and I heard something inside break. Probably the snow globe I'd bought for my grandson. $8 at a discount store, because that's all I could afford. Jessica flinched at the sound. I delivered groceries today so I could buy those presents, I said quietly. I worked a double shift. I haven't had time to shower or change. I came straight here because you said family was important. You said you missed me. Mom, please. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling you an Uber. I'll send you to the airport. You can catch a flight to. She paused. Wait, where were you going for Christmas? Here. I was coming here. Her face went red. Well, you must have other plans. Friends? Someone from your old restaurant? The restaurant closed 6 months ago. I told you that. Right. She was tapping on her phone, not looking at me. Okay, there's a flight to Miami in 2 hours. Do you have friends in Florida? No? Well, the airport's warm. You can figure something out. Here. She pulled bills from her purse. $50. This should cover a meal and maybe a cheap hotel near the airport. There are those economy places, right? I looked at the money, at my daughter's manicured hand holding it out like I was a homeless person on the street, which, I realized, is exactly how she saw me. Jessica, my voice broke. Please, it's Christmas Eve, and I have 60 people inside who expect perfection. She pushed the money into my coat pocket. I'm sorry, Mom. I really am, but you have to go. The Uber's coming in 3 minutes. Please don't make a scene. She closed the door. Just closed it, right in my face. I heard her heels clicking away on the hardwood floor, heard her voice brighten as she rejoined the party. Sorry about that. Just a mix-up with the caterer. The Uber driver was a young guy, maybe 25, who didn't talk. He drove me to LaGuardia in silence while I sat in the back seat, not crying, just numb. The packages were still on Jessica's steps. I'd forgotten to pick them up. The broken snow globe, the snickerdoodles I'd spent hours making, the scarves I'd knitted while watching television alone in my studio. All of it, left behind like trash. At the airport, I wandered. The driver had dropped me at departures, but I had no ticket, no destination, no plan. The terminal was chaos. Families rushing to catch flights, kids hyper with excitement, couples arguing about luggage. Everyone had somewhere to go. Everyone belonged somewhere. I found a chair near gate C-17, away from the crowds, and sat down. My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. I know you're upset, but you'll understand someday. This is about my family's future. Love you. Love you. 2 words that meant nothing when they came after rejection. I turned off my phone. The battery was dying anyway, and I'd need it tomorrow to call the superintendent about my rent payment. Maybe beg for an extension. The airport slowly emptied. Flights departed. Families disappeared through security checkpoints, heading toward warmth and celebration. The coffee shop closed. The newsstand pulled down its metal gate. A janitor mopped the floors, working around me like I was furniture. At 11:45, I counted my money. $67 total. Jessica's 50 plus what I'd brought for emergencies. Not enough for a hotel. Not enough for a taxi back to the Bronx. Not enough for anything except maybe breakfast tomorrow and a prayer. I put my face in my hands. My shoulders shook, but I didn't make a sound. I learned long ago that crying doesn't help. The world doesn't care about tears. The world wants strength, wants success, wants you to have value. And I had none. I was used up, thrown away, forgotten, by my daughter, by everyone. Excuse me. The voice was male, elderly, with the refined accent of old Manhattan money. Are you quite all right? I looked up. An older gentleman stood before me, maybe late 70s, with white hair and sharp blue eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He wore an expensive navy overcoat and carried a walking cane with a silver handle. But what struck me most was the patch over his left eye, black silk against pale skin. I'm fine, I said automatically, wiping my face. Sorry, I'm fine. You're clearly not fine. No one sits alone in an empty airport terminal on Christmas Eve unless something terrible has happened. He gestured to the chair beside me. May I? I should have said no. Should have told him to leave me alone. But loneliness makes you careless, makes you desperate for any human connection, even from strangers. I nodded. He sat down slowly, careful with his joints, and set his cane across his lap. William Ashford, he said. And you are? Margaret Hayes. A pleasure. Despite the circumstances. He studied me with that one sharp eye. Forgive my directness, but you don't seem like the sort of person who typically spends holidays in airports. You have the hands of someone who creates things. Baker? Seamstress? I looked at my hands, red and rough from work, the calluses that no amount of lotion could soften. Pastry chef. Was. Long time ago. Ah. Something lit in his expression. Where did you work? Rousseau's. In Manhattan. His eyebrows rose. Rousseau's? I ate there many times. Spectacular desserts. I remember a chocolate soufflé that was pure magic. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of pride. That was mine, my recipe. Then I'm in the presence of an artist. He smiled, gentle and sad, which makes me wonder even more why such a person is alone here on Christmas Eve. The kindness in his voice broke something in me. Words spilled out before I could stop them. The whole story. Jessica's rejection. The door closing in my face. The $50 like I was a beggar. The Uber to nowhere. I told him about my husband's death, the medical bills, losing our apartment, delivering groceries at 62 while my knees screamed. I told him everything, and he listened without interrupting, without judgment, just listened like my words mattered. When I finished, I felt empty, embarrassed. I'm sorry. You didn't ask for my life story. On the contrary, I asked exactly that. He was quiet for a moment, his fingers tapping the silver cane handle. Margaret, I'm about to make you a very strange offer. You're welcome to refuse, but I hope you won't. I waited. My driver is picking me up in approximately 10 minutes. My flight was canceled due to weather, and I'm returning to my home in Connecticut. It's a large house, quite empty, and my housekeeper prepared far too much food for one person. Would you consent to spend Christmas as my guest? I stared at him. You're inviting a stranger to your house? I'm inviting a fellow human being to share a meal rather than spend the holiday alone. There's a difference. He leaned forward slightly. I'll be honest with you, Margaret. My wife died 7 years ago. I have no children. My business associates are scattered across the world, and sitting in my study with brandy and regrets has lost its appeal. I could use the company. You would be doing me a favor. I don't understand why you'd... Because I was in your position once, he said quietly. Different circumstances, but the same loneliness, the same feeling of being discarded. Someone helped me then. I'd like to pay it forward, if you'll allow it. A black Mercedes pulled up outside the terminal. The driver, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, got out and waved. That's Elena, William said. She's been with me 15 years. Excellent cook, terrible at poker, absolute wizard at crossword puzzles. She'll vouch for my character if you need assurance I'm not a serial killer. I should have refused. Should have been smarter, more cautious. But something in his face, in the loneliness I recognized because I wore it too, made me nod. Just for tonight, I said. Just Christmas. Just Christmas, he agreed, though something in his smile suggested he knew better. Elena drove us north into Connecticut while William and I sat in comfortable silence. The roads were empty, winter pressing close against the windows. I watched suburbs give way to estates, stone walls and iron gates marking territory I'd only seen in magazines. The car turned down a long driveway, lined with bare trees. At the end sat a house that made my breath catch. Not a house, a mansion. You're inviting a stranger to your house? I'm inviting a fellow human being to share a meal rather than spend the holiday alone. There's a difference. He leaned forward slightly. I'll be honest with you, Margaret. My wife died 7 years ago. I have no children. My business associates are scattered across the world, and sitting in my study with brandy and regrets has lost its appeal. I could use the company. You would be doing me a favor. Ashford, I can't, I'm not. You're a guest, he said firmly. Nothing more, nothing less. Come inside. It's cold. The interior was museum beautiful. Marble floors, oil paintings, a Christmas tree that had to be 15 feet tall dominating the foyer. But it wasn't cold or sterile. Books everywhere, comfortable chairs, a fire burning in a massive fireplace. It felt lived in, loved, lonely. "Elena, would you show Margaret to the blue guest room?" William removed his coat. "And perhaps find something comfortable for her to wear. My late wife's clothes are still in the cedar closet. Similar size, I think." "Of course, sir." Elena smiled at me. "Come on, honey. You look dead on your feet." The blue guest room was bigger than my entire studio apartment. 4-poster bed, private bathroom, with a tub deep enough to swim in, windows overlooking the gardens. Elena brought soft pajamas, a cashmere robe, slippers. She ran me a bath, added lavender oil, told me to take my time. I soaked until the water went lukewarm, washing away the airport, the humiliation, the exhaustion. The pajamas fit perfectly. The robe felt like being wrapped in clouds. When I came downstairs, I found William in the kitchen, of all places, wearing an apron and chopping vegetables. "I hope you don't mind," he said. "I told Elena to take Christmas off. She deserves time with her family. But that means we're on our own for dinner. I was hoping you might help." I'm a disaster in the kitchen. Something in my chest loosened. "What did you have in mind?" "Whatever you'd like. The pantry is full. Surprise me." I opened the refrigerator and felt tears sting my eyes. Fresh produce, cream, butter, eggs. The pantry held flour, sugar, vanilla, chocolate, everything a chef could want. Everything I hadn't been able to afford in months. "Could I make us breakfast instead?" I asked. "It's almost midnight. Technically Christmas Day." "Perfect." I cooked. Really cooked, for the first time in forever. French toast with cardamom and orange zest, scrambled eggs with herbs from the greenhouse, bacon, fresh fruit. I made it all while William sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee, asking questions about techniques and ingredients. He was genuinely interested, genuinely impressed, treating me like an expert, like someone who mattered. We ate at 2 a.m, sitting at the kitchen island like old friends. The food was good, not fancy, just good, honest. And for the first time since my husband died, I didn't eat alone. "This is extraordinary," William said. "You're extraordinarily talented, Margaret. It's just breakfast. It's art. There's a difference." He refilled my coffee. "Can I ask you something? Your daughter, does she know how gifted you are?" My throat tightened. She used to. When she was little, she loved watching me work. She'd sit on a stool in the Rousseau's kitchen, and Chef would let her taste everything. She wanted to be like me. What changed? She grew up, went to business school, married Brandon, started making real money, the kind that matters. I became embarrassing. The poor mother who delivers groceries. Not someone you show off to hedge fund managers. "Her loss," William said quietly, "and a profound one, though she doesn't know it yet." After breakfast, he showed me to the library. "Pick anything you'd like to read, or just rest. No expectations, Margaret. You're safe here." I chose an old Agatha Christie, curled up in a leather chair by the fire, and fell asleep. When I woke, weak winter sunlight streamed through the windows, Christmas morning. William was already up, sitting across from me reading the newspaper. "Good morning," he said. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas." I stretched, feeling more rested than I had in months. I should probably head back to the city. "Must you?" He folded the newspaper. "I have a proposition. Before you dismiss it as charity, please hear me out." I waited. For the past 3 years, I've been developing a boutique hotel in Westport. Small, exclusive, focused on culinary tourism. The kind of place where people come specifically for the food. I need an executive pastry chef. Someone who understands elegance, creativity, the marriage of tradition and innovation. Someone who can design a dessert program that makes people weep with joy. My heart hammered. "Mr. Ashford." "William, please." William. I'm 62. I deliver groceries. I haven't worked in a real kitchen in 6 months. So? He leaned forward. Julia Child didn't publish her first cookbook until she was 50. You have decades of experience, skill that doesn't disappear just because circumstances changed. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a job to someone supremely qualified. There's an apartment above the hotel you could use. Salary, benefits, creative freedom. I need you, Margaret. The hotel needs you. Why? I whispered. Why me? Because I watched you cook breakfast at 2 in the morning with ingredients you'd never seen before, in a kitchen you didn't know, and you created something beautiful. Because you have the hands of an artist and the heart of someone who hasn't given up, even though you have every reason to. Because I believe in second chances. He smiled. And because that chocolate soufflé at Rousseau's changed my life 30 years ago, I'd like to return the favor. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. It was too much, too impossible. Think about it, he said. No pressure. Spend today here, rest, and we'll talk tomorrow. The day passed like a dream. We watched old movies. I helped him organize his wife's recipe box, and he told me stories about her, their travels, their life together. He didn't pry into my pain, didn't treat me like a charity case. He treated me like a friend. That evening, Elena returned and made dinner. A proper Christmas feast. The three of us ate together, laughing, sharing stories. William told terrible jokes. Elena showed me pictures of her grandchildren. It felt like family. Not the family I'd lost, but something new, chosen, real. On December 26th, I said yes to the job. The hotel wasn't finished yet, wouldn't open for 3 months. William set me up in the apartment anyway, helped me move my few belongings from the Bronx. He gave me a budget for the kitchen, asked me to design the dessert menu, trusted me completely. Every day I drove to the hotel and built my domain. Ordered equipment, tested recipes, interviewed staff. I hired 2 young pastry chefs, recent culinary school graduates who reminded me of myself at 25, hungry and hopeful. I didn't call Jessica, didn't text, let her wonder where I'd gone, if I'd disappeared into whatever fate she'd imagined for discarded mothers. The hotel opened on March 15th. Ashford House, named for William's late wife. 12 rooms, each decorated with antiques and fresh flowers. A dining room with windows overlooking Long Island Sound. And my kitchen, my beautiful, perfect kitchen, where I created magic. The desserts were my love letter to the life I'd thought I'd lost. Chocolate soufflé with raspberry coulis, lemon tart with Italian meringue, apple tart tatin with Calvados cream, crème brûlée, infused with lavender. Each one a memory, a hope, a promise that beautiful things still existed in the world. The reviews came fast. The New York Times sent a critic who gave us 3 stars and called my desserts transcendent. Food blogs went crazy. Instagram exploded with pictures of my creations. Within 2 months, Ashford House was booked solid for the next year. William was delighted. "You've exceeded every expectation," he said. "I'm increasing your salary, and I'd like you to consider profit sharing. You're not just an employee, Margaret. You're a partner in this success." In May, I won an award from the Connecticut Restaurant Association. Local television covered the ceremony. I wore a dress Elena helped me pick out, stood on a stage, accepted a plaque that recognized excellence in pastry arts. I gave a short speech about second chances, about never giving up on your craft, about the kindness of strangers who become family. The next morning, my phone rang. "Jessica." "Mom?" "Oh my God, Mom, I've been trying to reach you for months. Where have you been? I was so worried." I stood in my kitchen at Ashford House, surrounded by the smell of baking bread and vanilla. "I've been here, working." "Working where? What's going on? I saw you on the news last night. Is that real? You're a chef again?" "Executive pastry chef at Ashford House. In Westport." Silence. Then, Westport? That place that's impossible to get reservations? Brandon's boss tried to book a table and couldn't. "You work there? I built it, I said quietly. The pastry program is mine. More silence. I could hear her breathing, calculating. Mom, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. Listen, Brandon and I would love to come visit. See where you work. Maybe this weekend? We're fully booked. Oh. She laughed, nervous. Well, surely you can squeeze in your family. Maybe a private table? I don't think so. Mom. Her voice changed, taking on the wheedling tone she'd used as a child. Don't be like that. I know things were weird at Christmas, but you have to understand the pressure I was under. Brandon's career, the expectations. You know how it is. No, I said. I don't know how it is. Explain it to me. It's just, we're trying to build something. We need to make certain impressions, maintain certain standards. You have to admit, you weren't in great shape back then. But look at you now. You've turned things around. That's amazing. Let's celebrate together. I watched through the window as William walked through the garden, checking on the roses. He waved when he saw me. I waved back. You want to celebrate now that I'm successful again, I said. Now that I'm not embarrassing. That's not fair, Mom. Fair? Something hot rose in my chest. You closed the door in my face on Christmas Eve. You gave me $50 and sent me to the airport because I smelled like the groceries I'd delivered to afford presents for your children. You told me I'd understand someday that it was about your family's future. Remember? I was stressed. I made a mistake. Can't you forgive me? Forgiveness isn't the same as pretending it didn't happen, Jessica. You showed me exactly what I'm worth to you. Nothing. Less than nothing. An inconvenience. Mom, please. Don't call me again unless it's to apologize. Really apologize. Not this fake thing where you pretend it was just a misunderstanding. If you want a relationship with me, you need to earn it. The same way I earned everything I have now. I hung up. My hands shook, but I felt light, powerful, free. 2 weeks later, Jessica showed up at Ashford House. I was piping chocolate ganache when Elena came into the kitchen. Someone's here to see you, she said. Your daughter. I found Jessica in the lobby, looking small and uncertain. She wore jeans and a simple sweater, no designer labels. Her eyes were red. Hi, Mom. Jessica. I came to apologize. Really apologize. She twisted her hands together. What I did at Christmas was unforgivable. I was ashamed of you, and I shouldn't have been. You're my mother. You've always been there for me. And the one time you needed me, I failed. I threw you away like you didn't matter, like you were trash. I said nothing. Brandon and I talked. He was horrified when I told him what happened. He said his mother would never speak to him again if he did something like that. He's right. We've been going to therapy, working on things. But mostly, I've been thinking about who I've become. The person who cares more about impressions than people, who values money over love. I don't like her, Mom. I want to be better. Words are easy, Jessica. I know. She pulled something from her purse. A photo album. I brought this. Your wedding album. Dad's. Remember when you used to show me the pictures, tell me stories about your cake? You designed it yourself. It was beautiful. We sat on a bench by the window. She opened the album, and there it was, my wedding cake. 3 tiers of white chocolate and raspberry, decorated with sugar flowers I'd spent weeks creating. My masterpiece, made with love for a man I'd adored. You taught me that beautiful things take time, Jessica said softly. That shortcuts ruin the final product. That you have to care about what you're creating, or it shows. I forgot that, Mom. I took shortcuts with you, with us, and I ruined something beautiful. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Real tears, not manipulation. I can't undo what I did. But if you'll let me, I want to try to rebuild. I'll take as long as it takes. I'll prove I've changed. I'll be the daughter you deserved all along. I looked at her crying face and saw the little girl who'd sat on a stool in Rousseau's kitchen, tasting chocolate and dreaming. The girl who'd loved me before the world taught her to value the wrong things. It will take time, I said. I know. And it might not work. I might not be able to trust you again. I understand. And you don't get special treatment here. No free meals, no VIP access. If you want to visit, you make a reservation like everyone else. Okay. I put my hand over hers. But you can try. We can try. She collapsed against me, sobbing. I held her like I had when she was small, when the world hurt and only Mom could fix it. Maybe I couldn't fix this. Maybe the damage was too deep. But I'd learned something important over the past months. Families aren't just the people you're born to. They're the people who choose to stay, who do the work, who prove through actions that love means something. William had chosen me. Elena had chosen me. My young chefs had chosen me. And if Jessica wanted to choose me too, to earn her way back into my life, I could give her that chance. That evening, William found me in the garden. I was deadheading roses, thinking about second chances and redemption and the strange paths that lead us home. "Everything all right?" he asked. Jessica came by. "Ah, how did that go?" "We talked, really talked." She apologized. "Do you believe her?" I considered. "I think she wants to change. Whether she can is another question, but I'm willing to find out." He nodded slowly. "You're more generous than I would be. You gave me a second chance when I had nothing," I said. "Took me into your home on Christmas Eve. Gave me a job, a purpose, a life. You taught me that people can change, that circumstances don't define us. How can I not offer my daughter the same gift? That was different. You deserved help. Everyone deserves help, William. Everyone deserves a chance to be better than their worst moment." I smiled at him. "You taught me that." He was quiet for a long moment, looking at the roses. "My wife would have liked you very much. She always said I was too harsh in my judgments, too quick to write people off. You remind me of her. The generosity of spirit, the belief in goodness. I'm not that generous. I'm still angry, still hurt, but I'm also still here, still standing, and that has to count for something. It counts for everything." He touched my shoulder gently. "You've done something remarkable here, Margaret. Not just the desserts, though those are extraordinary. You've built a life from nothing. You've shown grace under circumstances that would break most people. You've remembered how to hope." "So have you," I said. "This hotel. Opening yourself up to new relationships, taking a risk on a broken-down pastry chef you found in an airport. Best decision I ever made." He smiled. "Well, second best. The first was eating that chocolate soufflé at Rousseau's 30 years ago. Set everything else in motion. We stood together in the garden as twilight fell. Two people who'd found each other at the end of hope and built something new. Not a replacement for what we'd lost, but something different. Something chosen. Something real." Jessica came back the following week, and the week after that, she brought my grandchildren, who I barely recognized. We were awkward together, careful, testing boundaries, but slowly, carefully, we began to rebuild. She brought Brandon one evening. He shook my hand, apologized for his part in what happened. "I should have insisted she include you at Christmas," he said. "I was a coward. I'm sorry." I gave them a table by the window and served them dessert. My chocolate soufflé, the one that had started everything. Jessica took a bite and burst into tears. "It tastes like home," she whispered. "Like being little and safe and loved." "That's what I make," I told her. "That's what all of this is. Love, baked into sugar and butter and hope." In September, William called me into his office. "I'm selling the hotel," he said. My heart stopped. "What?" "Not to strangers. To you. For $1. He pushed papers across the desk. "Elena and I talked. We're moving to Florida, near her daughter. I'm 80 years old, Margaret. Time to actually retire. But Ashford House needs someone who loves it. Someone who'll maintain the standards we've built. That's you. I can't afford." $1, he repeated firmly. "Plus the promise that you'll keep the name and that you'll save me a table whenever I visit. Those are my only conditions." "William, I couldn't see through the tears. This is too much. It's exactly enough. You brought this place to life. You made it what it is. It should be yours. He moved to Florida in October. I became the owner of Ashford House, my hotel, my kitchen, my life, built from ruins and kindness and the stubborn refusal to give up. Jessica and I have dinner every other Sunday now. It's not perfect. Some days I still flinch when she touches me, still remember the door closing in my face. But healing isn't linear. It's messy and slow and sometimes painful. We're trying. That's enough. Last month, on the anniversary of that terrible Christmas Eve, I drove back to LaGuardia Airport, walked to Terminal C, sat in the same chair where I'd fallen apart a year ago. I thought about the woman I'd been then, broken, alone, convinced she was worthless. And I thought about who I'd become, owner of a successful hotel, award-winning chef, friend to people who chose to love me, mother trying to rebuild a relationship with her daughter, not perfect but whole, not defeated but fighting. A young woman sat down 2 chairs away. She was crying, trying to hide it, hunched over her phone. She looked lost, forgotten, just like I'd been. I moved closer. "Excuse me, are you all right?" She looked up, startled. "I'm fine." "You're clearly not fine. No one sits alone in an airport on a Tuesday night crying unless something terrible has happened." I smiled gently. "Would you like some company?" She hesitated, then nodded. I sat beside her. "I'm Margaret. What's your name?" And as she told me her story, another tale of betrayal and loss and loneliness, I listened, really listened. And when she finished, when the words ran out and only silence remained, I said the words that had changed my life. "I have a proposition for you. Before you dismiss it as charity, please hear me out. Because that's what we do. Those of us who've been broken and rebuilt, we reach out. We offer hands to strangers who need them. We remember that one moment of kindness can change everything. That sometimes the family we need is the one we choose. That it's never too late to start over, to be better, to hope." Until that Christmas Eve, I thought I knew what loneliness felt like. I thought rejection would destroy me. But standing in Terminal C with $17 and no hope, I learned something more important. That rock bottom is just the foundation. That from nothing, we can build everything. That the worst night of your life might be the beginning of the best chapter. I'm Margaret Hayes, 63 now, owner of Ashford House. Mother, friend, chef, survivor. And I'm here to tell you that miracles aren't pretty. They're messy and imperfect and born from pain. But they're real. They happen. Sometimes in airports at midnight. Sometimes in the kindness of strangers. Sometimes in the slow, hard work of becoming who you were meant to be. And they can happen to you too, even if you can't see it yet. Even if you're sitting alone right now, convinced it's over. It's not over. The best part might be just beginning. You just have to be brave enough to say yes when a stranger offers hope. Brave enough to believe you deserve a second chance. Brave enough to keep going, even when everything says stop. That's the real miracle. Not the hotel or the awards or the reconciliation. The miracle is still being here, still standing, still believing that tomorrow might be better than today. That's the gift William gave me. That's the gift I try to give others. The stubborn, beautiful, impossible belief that love and hope and second chances are real. And they are. I promise you, they are.